Hello, and welcome to my video. This video is about targeted individuals, especially me, and my experience of being a TI. So usually, I do videos usually to bring awareness, to give people information, and to also expose what these perps are doing uh, to me on a daily basis. And so I'll begin with that. So lately, again, being waked in the middle of the night with the police sirens immediately after me becoming awake. Usually, when that happens, I know that I'm being awake in my sleep, and this is by the use of direct energy weapons and also the microchip that I was implanted with for the purpose of remote neural monitoring. Now, 2 nights ago, my son woke up in the middle of the night around 5:30 in the morning, and well, I wouldn't say in the middle of the night, but 5:30 in the morning. And he came to me and he was like, "Daddy, I couldn't sleep." And immediately after he said that, there was the sound of the police siren. And like I've demonstrated before, it's just very short. It's like woo, and then that was it. Didn't hear it again. So, I listen. I know they have been sending me psychological threats about doing what they have done to me, to my children, and I think that if it continues to happen and I notice it, then I know that they have basically started to do this to my son, right, who is 7 years old. These cowards, because they are cowards, um, to do this to a child, it just shows you how psychotic these people are. And why would anybody follow these people in the first place? You have to think about that, okay? I mean, it goes to the heart of humanity as a whole in terms of human being used to commit all sorts of atrocities, okay, in the name of whatever cause, okay, whether it be religious, whether it be uh, as they like to use against me with this national security or security type thing or safety type thing, and then trying to use uh, you know their religious belief to perpetrate these crimes, and to also get me to think or believe that if I believe in Jesus Christ or become a Christian, my targeting would stop, which I know is nonsense, you know, because I know some very religious TIs who are Christian and are still targeted with the psyops. So again, as a TI, I want to let you know is that if they try to make you believe these things, don't believe it because it's not true. They're not going to stop targeting you because you converted to Christianity or you believe in Jesus Christ and you accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. They're not going to stop targeting you, okay? That's just to see if the psyops is working on your mind and if you are influenced into believing their false indoctrination, because that's what it is. It's a false indoctrination. Now, what we are dealing with here is a cult, and it is a very large one. It is made up of multi-ethnicity. It is made up of multi-religious belief system, or those who believe in various religious belief system. it is created by the government. Okay, and when I say the government, I mean there are certain programs that they have created, right? Whether it be official or unofficial. And in this case, I think this program, the PSYOPs part of this program, is unofficial. And that's what's making it so hard for TIs to get any type of proof, okay, tangible proof, documents that says that this is true, okay? And hence the reason why it is on a psychological level. But again, we must understand that the psychological level is a deceptive one. It is a coercive persuasion program. It is done to silence you, to discredit you, to villainize you, to make you public enemy number one, to hide the fact that the government or those in the security agencies, such as the CIA, the NSA, the FBI, to hide their crimes of non-consensual human experimentation. And I mean that's the clearest way that I can explain this. So in my target and what they have been doing, and they've always been doing this, is certain things that might be different one way, and then it comes back to being the same in one way. For example, they will use homeless people, as they have done recently, to target me, to threaten me with homelessness. They have used women to target me, to try to turn me against women, or to make me believe that there is no woman out there that wants to be with me. Okay? So they will use women in a particular manner to let me to send me subliminal message that that is the case. Now, if there's no woman that want to be with me, I'm fine with that. Okay? It's not going to stop me from speaking the truth. It's not going to stop me from doing my shows, no matter what they try. And they know that I am somewhat in a relationship with the children of my two kids. I mean, with the mother of my two kids, not the children. The mother of my two children. I have three kids, but the the last two, their mother. And they always use her to target me, and so I wouldn't say we have a relationship in terms of having a relationship that is based on respect, that is based on love, that is based on kindness, because when she's targeting me, okay, I go by that, by her actions. I don't go by what she says to me, okay? And I know that the only reason why I'm around is because she cannot handle raising two kids. I know that, as my children gets older and become more independent, our relationship will go down the drain, and she will target me even more intensely, because that's what perps do. Okay? And she knows that because I love my kids, that I don't really want to leave my kids alone with her, on a daily basis. Okay? Not that she doesn't love our kids, but she cannot take care of them in a way that they need to be taken care of. She still have a selfish mentality when it comes to a lot of things, when it comes to dealing with our children. And so, hence the reason why we're around each other. Because if she was more of type of independent mother, meaning that getting the kids to sleep on time when she wakes up in the morning, making them breakfast. If she gets up first, you know, um, in which she doesn't do. So let's say she gets up at 6:30, and I get up at 7. She's still laying in bed. Where I'm getting up, I'm making the kids breakfast, I'm ironing their clothes, and to take my son to school and to take my daughter to the babysitter. Now, she's working, but that's no excuse. If you get up at 6:30 in the morning, you should have breakfast made already. You just laying in bed for half an hour, and then when I get up, it's like I gotta make breakfast. It's the same. It's like if I have to go move the car in the morning for parking on the right side of the street, you know, I'm out the door by 6:45 in the morning, and sometimes I don't get back in the house until like 7:30 minutes to 8, and I still gotta when I get in the house make breakfast for the kids. You know, and so that what I mean when I talk about she's selfish in certain ways. Because if I'm outside trying to get parking, okay, and you're up, you should have breakfast made already by the time I got in the house. You don't wait until I come upstairs and then I'm starting to make breakfast, and then you're asking me, did you make breakfast for me? I mean, what kind of nonsense is that? So, she'll do stuff like that. And that's one of the reasons, like I said, why I feel like I really have to be here for my kids, because, she is just not willing to change her mindset and her mentality when it comes to certain things. And so, but, they use her constantly to cause strife between me and her. But again, when you deal with people who have cult-like mentality and participate and belong in cults, they don't have any kind of rational thinking. Common sense goes out the door. Okay? And so, recently they've been using her again, when she walks in front of me, using the hand signal of turning her palm towards me, which is kind of unnatural, because if you're walking past somebody, why are you putting your hand behind your back with your palm facing towards them? And she does it constantly, and there are times when we are intimate, and then there are times when we're not, and it's because she uses sex as a retaliation method, same like the perps when they target you, and because you're speaking out against what it is that they're doing, so they retaliate against you. So her retaliation is not being intimate with me, or until excuse me, or until it's in their favor for her to sleep with me. Like, I'm still trying to figure that one out, because let's say I decided, what, I'm not sleeping with her anymore. Then she'll, want to have sex with me. And then when I want to have sex, she's like, I'm too tired, giving me all these excuses. Okay? So it just seems like whenever she wants to have sex or she wants to be intimate, then it's okay, which is probably about once a month. All right? And in any relationship, having a healthy sex life is important. But what I understand from observance and also from experimentation is that they are controlling her to retaliate against me for speaking out by using her to withhold intimacy or sex from me. Okay? And so, you know, that's the issue. And then other issues is that when it's time for me to do my show, okay, she's doing things to keep my daughter up instead of saying, hey, Nigel has his show on Tuesday at 11 p.m. Let me not, do my daughter's hair at that time. She should be in bed already. She should be sleeping, and I would, from when she gets in the house around 6, and I'm like, well, listen, do her hair and give her a bath early because I have my show to do. And it would just fly past her ears. And again, she'll be doing my daughter's hair at 11 o'clock at night while I'm trying to do my show. And a 3-year-old makes a lot of noise, especially when they're up, and I'm trying to do my show. So it's either, that when I'm here at her house, and then when I go to my house, if I decide to go to my house on a Tuesday to do my show, and I live with my sister and her son and daughter, and then they will use my nephew, to try to interfere and disrupt my show. So it is all to them is all about trying to silence me by using people closest to me to interfere or disrupt my ability to do my talk show on TalkShoe. Okay? And so it is an ongoing thing that they've done. I've been doing my show for many years, okay? And didn't have an issue with the people around me when I'm doing my show. Within the past 2 years, they have been constantly trying to use the people in my life, family members, and the mother of my 2 children, to interfere with my show. I mean, it's ridiculous. And then when I do my show, the perps will call in and try to disrupt it. And when I mute them, they'll call my phone while I'm doing my show. Let me give you an example. So last night, which was Tuesday, the 24th of January 2017, one of the perps came on my show and started calling me the N-word. It was like N-word this, N-word that, N-word this, N-word. So I muted him. And when I mute him, he hangs up. Okay. Then he calls back with I forgot the name of that he called back in, because before he was just a guest, and then he called back with a name, Todd or Tom something, and again start calling me the N-word over and over again. And so I'm like, okay, so I had to mute the call and block the chat, and then I had to unmute and unblock everybody else that was on the chat except for that individual. So when he calls back again, he will immediately be blocked in the chat and muted. So he kept calling my phone. And I'm just like, these people have nothing better to do. They need a life because they have no life. So he calls my phone, okay, at the first call was at 1:27 a.m. Okay, then the next call again was at 1:30 a.m. Then at 1:36 a.m. Then at 1:43 a.m. Then at 1:46 a.m. and then at 1:52 a.m. Now, what kind of individual would do that? Okay? And I'm going to play for you some of the messages that was left on my voicemail.
Shut the fuck up.
the fucking cunt. Shut the fuck up. Okay, that was one. Now here's another one. Excuse me. Now, it's funny because when they expose themselves and then they go back into their hole, I'm talking about the police with the sirens and all that stuff, and there is a night where there is no siren at all, then they will use car alarms, car honking, you know. So they'll always use one way or another to harass and target me. Let's go to the other one. It's math. Clap your hands. Like this. Come on. Come on now. Clap your hands. Nigga run, nigga flow, nigga tall his shirt into run, the paddock will look at you, run, nigga run, well you better get away. That's right, like you mean. Nigga run so fast, hold his head and hold his fast, run. And so I'm not surprised by the kind of messages that is being sent to me, because I've always known that my targeting had a racial element to it, because when I first became a target here in New York, they used to use white supremacists to target me. So when I leave work, they would be standing in the corner, you know, dressed in their jackets and their military boots and their heads shaven, and they had the iron cross on the sleeve of their jacket. You know, so I wasn't surprised. And as a black person, and particularly as a black person who is a TI, you get to understand that those that perpetrate these sort of programs are racist. They're racist in nature, and that's who they are. And they've duped every community, every ethnicity into participating in this under the blanket of public safety, national security, mental health. And so I'm not going to allow them to get away with it. Here's another message. I know it, but I don't think I should say it. I think it's a commercial. I'd like to solve the puzzle. Snickers. And this one here is you know, again, I'm not surprised by these messages because, like I said earlier on in my targeting, I was targeted by white supremacists and racist white police officers, particularly white male police officers who are racist. Okay, so I'm not surprised. I just want the public to understand and realize that you're all being duped. Same thing with what happened with the election of Donald Trump and the people who he elected in positions of power. They're racist. It's plain and simple. Okay, racist, racist, racist. That's what they are. And the sad part about it is that poor whites who think that they're better than poor blacks believe that Donald Trump is speaking for them. And they've always used race as a tactic to divide and conquer poor blacks and poor whites. Okay, and because of poor people and the level of excuse me, and the level of literacy within those two groups, it's easy to manipulate them. It's easy to divide and conquer. Okay? I mean, I don't know. I forgot who said this, but, you know, this was, they had a saying that if you tell a poor white man he's better than a black man, whether the black man is poor or well off, that poor white man will be in the hands of the Republican for generations. Racism is America addiction. And what happens when you overdose on a drug? You die. Racism will cause the death of America. Believe me when I say this. And come back to this video when it's happening because, as a TI, I had to do so much research into psychology, into manipulative tactics, into programs of mind control, behavior modification, coercive persuasion program, psychological psyops by the U.S. military. And so I feel like I know what I'm talking about. Now, if there's anybody out there who can prove me wrong, I welcome that. Prove me wrong. But as I said, racism will be the death of America. Unless poor white people come to the understanding that you have more in common with poor blacks and black people in general than these white, rich Republican, politicians who are only using you to get into office and then forgetting about you once they are in office. Okay? Is racism and hatred towards black people that important to you? That you're willing to remain in the situation that you're in because you don't want black people to have equality? And you're not realizing that if black people have equality, your life will be better. Black people don't discriminate when it comes to hiring. Black people don't discriminate when it comes to who they serve. In terms of, restaurants and businesses, whether large or small. Black people don't do that. I mean, I'm sorry to turn this into a black and white thing, which I'm not trying to, but I just had to touch on that. Okay? Because it's important that we understand that. So when I get messages like that, again, it just reaffirm what I know, and not what I believe, but what I know, and about who is the perpetrators of these type of programs. Okay. And it goes to the heart of many issues. But we as TIs, especially for those who believe that Trump is going to help them in any way, that's not going to happen. Okay, and I'm being realistic. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just trying to be and being realistic. Okay, and what you as TIs have to do is that, again, you have to start exposing this. You have to make videos, record, explaining your recording, what exactly is taking place, and to give people an idea of what it is that you're going through. And the more you expose this, the more these people are going to crawl back into the hole. Okay? They will come out once or twice in a while, but they will continue to scurry on back into the hole that they came out of. And that's what we have to do. We have to expose it. And remember, they will do anything to silence you. Anything. They will use psychological threats. They will use the police. They will use homeless people, right? As they do, as they've recently been doing, in my targeting, the use of homeless people, the use of the opposite sex to send you subliminal messages of denying you a relationship or denying you intimacy. Okay? They will use, if you go for help in terms of getting help from the government, whether it be the SNAP program or whether it be mental health program, they will do everything in their power to deny you. They've done it to me. They've done it to me. Okay? I mean, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, really. Grown ass people who have the mentality of children. Children. As I'm walking back to the building, they had this woman, acting like she's going into the building, but she doesn't live there. She doesn't live here. So she's acting like she's going into the building, looking in her purse to find her keys. And as I approach her, she takes her phone out of her pocket, looked at me as she's walking by now. So all of a sudden now, she's not going into the building, but she's walking by now, staring me down. And I'm staring at her too, like, what the hell are you looking at? The use of women of different ethnicity to culturally target me, the use of women of a particular hue or shade to target me, in a particular manner, the use of Jewish women to target me, the use of Hispanic women to target me. So there are days when, Jewish women will be used predominantly in my targeting. And there are days when Hispanic women are used predominantly in my targeting. Okay? It is to make me think negative about these women and about, those groups of people. Okay? There are times when they'll use gay men in my targeting. No, I'm not gay. Are they trying to turn me gay? Or are they trying to say, well, if you become gay, not one gay person would talk to you, But I'm a heterosexual male. I'm not gay. And there's nothing wrong with being gay. Okay? Then the use of teenagers, particularly teenage girls, predominantly to target me. So, those kind of tactics is what's being done. We're dealing with a bunch of juvenile, we're dealing with a bunch of socio psychopathic, cult driven, and cult belonging individuals who feed on the destruction of a human being. Bob Marley called them vampires. But he was talking about the system. Okay? In our targeting, we have two sets of vampires. We have the system and we have the ground troops. Okay? So they will not stop me from doing my show. They can make all the noise they want. They can wake me up in the middle of the night multiple times. I don't care. My main job now and always have been to expose what's being done. Okay? And know this, that when they're trying to send you subliminal messages like they do me in terms of becoming a Christian and believing in Jesus Christ, don't fall for it. Like I said, I know many TIs who are very religious and are still being targeted. Okay? They want you to become religious because you are easily to conform to their psychological programming. You do not become a free thinker, an independent minded person. You become a group cult mentality driven individual. Okay? That's it, ladies and gentlemen. For those TS out there, keep your head up. Know that you are being manipulated. You have been manipulated. You have been villainized. You continues to be villainized. And don't make anyone feel like they have the upper hand on you by becoming silent to what they're doing. No matter what the psychological threat, no matter what the physical threat, stand up for yourself. Be proud of who you are. And expose what's happening to you.